Hi, my love. Welcome. This is going to be kind of a little bit of a different way that I do the video readings. I have you on my tripod and I'm just here in my room. I just thought I would, do a more cozy kind of a cozy video. Since I'm not necessarily pulling cards and doing a reading, I feel like I could get away with doing this. So if you want to just put this down, like your camera down, or not your camera, but your phone, I'm assuming you're going to watch this from your phone. You can just listen to me in the background. I'm really not going to do anything specific except for I do have some cards that do represent the different signs that are in the chart that we're reading. So, if you want to watch, you can watch, and I'll be holding up the cards for that purpose. But other than that, you can just listen. Okay, so we're going to be talking about your sun, moon, and rising today. The sun, moon, and rising is pretty much, I like to call this the three main signs in your birth chart, okay? So everybody has a birth chart. Everybody has planets that were in specific positions in the universe at the time you were born. So if you're one of those people who are able to know the time that you were born, the date, obviously we know when we were born, but the time and all of that, the location, then you are able to calculate your birth chart. Your birth chart is very specific to you. No two people, they say no two people have the same chart. It can be just slightly different for people even who are twins, even because them being born at, not technically not the same time. So there's like a lot of elements that go into that. So that is what makes your birth chart special. So when we look at a birth chart, there's three main components that are probably the three most important parts. That is your sun sign, your moon sign, and your rising sign. So pretty much majority of the people know what their sun sign is. That's pretty much like the one thing all of us know. And your sun sign doesn't always give, sorry, I need to get just a little bit of something for me to balance my arm. Your sun sign will give you information about yourself, but it doesn't mean everything. So that's where the moon and rising sign come to play. So I did do the calculations for your chart and your sun sign. So let's talk about the sun sign first. Your sun sign is in the sign of Libra, in your fourth house. So really quickly, every birth chart has 12 houses, okay? And each house represents something different. So the fourth house represents the house of your home life and your, your roots and all of that. So let me get my cards. Yeah. So the fourth house is the house of your roots, okay? The image on this card, we have a tree. It looks like it's like a tree. It's really pretty the way the artwork is, but it's a tree. You're rooted, you're grounded, it's your home. It's everything that you are. It's everything that makes you feel stable in life, right? So that's where your sun sign is. Your sun is in the planet. The sun is in the fourth house. Your sun means how you are, who you are, okay? So this is, elements that would probably define who you are as a person, your personality traits, and all of that. And Libra people are very balanced, or they need to be balanced people. It's a constant tug of war with you throughout your life. So some days you might feel really balanced and you might feel really good. Other days you might feel chaotic and all over the place. So Libra people need to have balance. You guys need to have schedules, a plan, an outline, an agenda, right? Libra people need to have some kind of something that's going to keep them in check and in order, because you can be all over the place if you're not, especially with your sun sign in Libra in the fourth house. So for you, it's needing your home life in order, needing to feel stable in life, needing to feel grounded. If your home life is in chaos and if you don't feel grounded, you don't feel rooted, if you don't feel like you have a home or you feel like you don't have a place to call home, it's really unsettling for you. It's very difficult for you to feel safe and to feel, okay. So I don't know if you've had those instances in your lifetime where you have struggled with finding, the proper definition of home for yourself. That might be something that will pop up because of what it's showing in your birth chart. I hope that makes sense. Libra people are also, they need harmony. Okay. So you guys are the harmonizers in your friendship circles or your social settings. You guys are the people that like to make sure everybody's getting along. You guys like to check in with everybody and just, you are the glue that holds the friendships together. Libras can also tend to, it's like you guys want harmony in your own life too, but you also can be kind of self-destructive at the same time. So as much as you want harmony and people to get along and happiness and all of that, you guys could also be the reason why you self-destruct. You will create havoc in your own lives. There's a word I'm looking for and it's not coming to mind. I hate when this happens. There's a word that's coming to mind, but it's basically like if everything is going good, everything is great and harmonistic in your life, it's almost like you feel like you have to wreak havoc and create some sort of destruction because it's too much of a good thing. So there's a word for it. I'm probably going to come up with it later, but I'm not even going to stress about it. So hopefully you understand what I mean. But Libra people are they're probably some of the most sweetest people that you come across. So you have like that, sweet energy to you. You're very forgiving, you're very understanding type of people. So Libra is also an air sign. So air sign meaning very analytical in your thoughts, in your head, deep thinkers and all of that, especially when it comes to the home life. It's just everything has to feel good, instinctively, intuitively in your mind. And if things are chaotic, especially like for you to feel balanced and for you to feel grounded in life, if it's chaotic in your mind, if your mind isn't at ease and if you're not at peace and you're constantly like worrying about everything, which Libra people do tend to be worrywarts, and you're worrying about the home life. You're worrying about, am I able to make ends meet? Am I able to pay rent or make mortgage? Am I able to be stable in life and secure? Like that's a big deal for you with your sun in the 4th house. So those are things to think about, those are traits, those are common traits that might be popping up for you, especially with your sun in the 4th house. Speaking of that, 4th house in the home life is actually a very powerful energy for you in your life because your rising sign is in Cancer in the 1st house. So your rising sign will always be represented by the 1st house. The 1st house is the body, it's the self, it's you on the outside, it's the exterior. And your rising sign is basically how people perceive you. It is how other people see you. Your rising sign, the energy of your rising sign is your persona, your personality that you put out there. Like, for example, when you go to job interviews or when you go on a first date or when you are meeting people for the first time, your sign in the 1st house, your rising sign is usually the energy that you put out to those people. So even though you are a sun in Libra, you are a Cancer rising, and Cancer people are a water sign. It's a water sign. So they're very intuitive and they're loving and they're nurturing. Cancers, or the little crab, you think of the little crabby, the little hermit crab, they love to be home. They're homebodies. They love to be in secure places. They like to feel safe. They like to feel comfortable and relaxed. So the fact that your sun sign is in your 4th house of, like I just talked about, stability, your rising sign being in Cancer, let me get my cards. Your rising sign of Cancer is I feel. Cancer is the emotions. Cancer feels everything. They're sensitive. And Cancers love to be nurtured. They love to take care of other people, but they also love to feel nurtured and taken care of in their own space. The home life is very important to a Cancer. Okay. You guys are the ones that are hosting parties, or you guys are the ones that have the cozy house, and you love to just have your home feel like a safe place. It's your sacred space. And that's just really big with Cancers. The body, meaning the first house is of the body. This is also plays into effect of how you look, your appearance. So Cancer rising people tend to have very voluptuous body types, whether it's the whole, hourglass figure, or it is big lips, or it's big boobs, hips, thighs, a big butt. Like, there's usually some sort of voluptuousness with a Cancer person. So especially for Cancer rising people. So Cancer rising peoples are usually known for the big butts, or the big boobs, or the big lips, or the voluptuous curvy bodies. So if you relate to any of that, that is pretty much as far as your birth chart is concerned, that's where you get those looks from. Other things about Cancer rising people with your appearances: you have rounder faces, you have larger eyes, like just round. You have to think of the moon, right? So the moon is round. You have to think of that in aspects of your appearance. So rounder eyes or rounder face shapes, or that's also where they get the voluptuousness too, like rounder bodies or curviness, right? We're very like circular. So that's another thing to think about. What else? Cancers are also known to be very, like I said, nurturers. They're motherly. So if you have kids, you probably are mama bear, helicopter mom or mama bear. You're also the person that likes to cook for everybody or take care of everyone. Those are big traits for Cancer rising people. I'm trying to think what else. I just feel like the aspect of Cancer, the sign of Cancer, the fourth house represents Cancer. They're very strong with you. So your moon being in the first house, I'm sorry, not your moon, your rising sign being Cancer in the first house, your sun sign being in the fourth house, which is also represented by Cancer technically. Those traits. So you have very nurturing, sensitive traits. The other thing about Cancers is very intuitive. So you could be very intuitive naturally. Maybe you just get these feelings of you just know things and you don't know why you know it, you just know it. Or you might get sensitive feelings as in you feel energy and you feel other people's emotions. Or you can't watch certain movies because it makes you cry. Or when one person cries, you're crying. Or just feeling more psychic than other people, more psychically connected than other people. That's a very strong trait with the Cancers. And I think that's about it I have to say for now. We'll see if anything else comes to mind. The last sign we're talking about is your moon. So you have an Aquarius moon in the 8th house. So let's see. Aquarius, 8th house, moon. So your moon sign, in this card it says the soul, but your moon is your emotions. This is how you emotionally connect with people. This is your emotions, how you express your emotions, your moods and all of that. And it is in the sign of Aquarius, which is, I know it's another air sign. So Aquariuses are all about their thoughts and their harmony. They're very harmonistic people as well. So it sounds like your energy would be very much not much of a confrontational person, but more of like a peacemaker, more of like that person that just wants everyone to get along. And you will, you like to see all sides to every perspective, and you're not very judgy and you're not very like particular. You're just kind of like, you want the good and peace for everything. So that's an Aquarius moon. It's in the 8th house, which is the house of endings and beginnings. So the 8th house can sometimes be a little bit of a troublesome, or it's just a little bit more of a difficult house than all of the other ones. So having a Cancer, or I'm sorry, an Aquarius moon in that house can mean, when it comes to problems or when it comes to like difficult, challenging times in your life, you're very much like the analytical thinker. You are the person that has to come up with an idea. You're inspired often. So maybe you find, even in like times of like tragic things, like if your life seems or feels it appears to be falling apart, you may find you are inspired by stuff, by that kind of stuff. So that kind of stuff might actually help motivate you and push you forward. So it's kind of a weird thing. The other thing too is Aquarius people, moons and Aquarius people, you might be a little bit flaky, or you may not do so well with expressing your feelings, or you might do it in a weird, quirky way. So some signs really like to express their emotions in their hearts, like they're very open about that, but Aquarius people can sometimes be either you're all in or you're all out. So depending on who you're around, if you are not as comfortable with a person or you don't really know them that well, you're not going to be as emotionally open, versus if it's your inner circle, like again, your Cancer traits will be coming out with this, then you will be emotionally open. So you're very choosy with how you show your feelings. You're very choosy with who you show your feelings with and how open you are with your heart. Your sign, or actually in general, your birth chart in general, you have a lot of water and a lot of air in your chart. So water signs are very intuitive people, emotional, sensitive people, artsy people, very crafty, very like home, you like to do your DIYs and that kind of stuff, or you're artistically inclined, so you love to do art or create in some form, or you write or read or whatever. Same thing with air sign people. Air sign people are communicators. They're thinkers. So that could be a good thing. That could be a bad thing. Same thing with water. Having too much water could be a bad thing. You can be very emotional, or just, up, down, or deal with depression. Same thing with air sign people. Too much of it can be you overthink, or you're a worrywart. So it has its good things and its bad things. But just looking at your birth chart as a whole, definitely there's a lot of water. You actually have, I know this isn't part of the reading, but I'll just throw this in there. You have a grand, no, you're not a grand. You have a stellium in your water sign. So you also have, a stellium is for 4 or more planets. So you actually have 4 planets in the sign of Scorpio in your 5th house. So that's a stellium, and a stellium in a water sign tells me that you connect much more with your water traits, regardless of your sun being in an air sign. So look up your Scorpio, like look up what Scorpio means. You might find that you will resonate a lot with Scorpio, a lot with the Cancer sign. I do believe, if I remember correctly, you also have a planet, I think it's Jupiter, in Pisces. So you do have a lot of strong water elements in your chart, meaning you're very intuitive, not like a natural intuitive, one of those natural psychics. You just know things, or you experience weird stuff in your lifetime. And then also you're just artistically inclined, whether you have a hidden talent or you just love music, you love the arts and all of that. And then also, if it's not water, then it's also air that you have a lot of in your chart. So like I said, very intellectual. You love to learn. You're inspired easily. Your thought process is always going, so you probably think all the time, and sometimes it can get a little bit too much. And then communication comes natural to you too. The only sign that I saw you lacked in your chart was fire. So you do have some earth sign in your chart, but it's not strong. So even earth being grounded is important. You're going to have to work a little bit harder with that. And then the fire, I think you only had 1 planet in fire, which means that you may struggle with motivation. You may struggle with taking initiative or taking action, which is why I was saying you're not a very confrontational person. And I think it takes like it'll take a special person or to get your buttons pressed just enough for you to blow up. So you're for the most part you're pretty chill and relaxed and easygoing. But definitely lack of fire in a chart can show, you struggle with motivation, you struggle with staying motivated or staying full force. You may have to work a little bit harder to do that. So it has its good things and its bad things, But yeah, basically that's pretty much the gist of what I remembered from looking at your chart. Just beautiful stuff. You I feel like with the sun sign, oh my gosh, the sun in Libra and your moon in Aquarius, sun and moon in both air signs just tells me that a lot in your head. So a lot of overthinking, a lot of having to think and rethink and overthink everything, like every little detail. So I would say too, when you find yourself so stuck in your mind and you're just like constantly thinking left and right, maybe doing exercises where you can ground yourself. Going outside in nature might be helpful for you to bring yourself away from being stuck in the head all the time and actually like be in reality. So I thought I would add that in there too, because I am also a heavy water sign person. And I know that I do struggle with, being in reality a lot. So sometimes it's easier to escape and be in the, the psychic realm, or to be in like the things that you have special interest in and not wanting to deal with actual reality stuff in life. So if you find that you struggle with that too, something that would really help is to be around earthy energy people, people who will ground you, people who will motivate you with those with those fire sign people too. Or also, putting yourself in situations where you're in Mother Nature, going outside, getting some sunlight, putting your bare feet in the ground to ground you. You do need to make sure you were grounding, because that is also something that is, a struggle for you too, with a lot of air and a lot of water in the chart. We just have to work a little bit harder with grounding. So yeah, so my love, that is pretty much the gist of your sun, moon, and rising. I hope that you enjoyed. I hope that it made sense. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, feedback, please send me an email. And other than that, I would definitely say go look up a stellium in Scorpio, because I think it'll make a little bit more sense too. But yeah, you have a beautiful chart, lots of water, lots of air. And I hope it made sense. So if you have any questions, let me know, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, love.